Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. Cybersecurity remains a challenge in today's digital world, and my guest is working hard to ensure that individuals and organizations are protected as much as possible. More on this on the interview segment, plus a lot more lined up for you. We kick off the show with some updates. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
Cyber attacks rain down on us from many places. You have to make your system secure and safe and teach your people cyber hygiene. According to a recent report by Kaspersky, a global cybersecurity and digital privacy company, malware attacks in Africa have increased to 85 million in just 6 months, with Nigeria recording 16.7 million attacks, which is about 23% increment. In a bid to safeguard the country's digital economy from cybercrimes, the federal government is renewing its plans and building more trust among strategic stakeholders.
These opportunities, despite these derivable benefits.
At the 2021 annual Cybersecurity Conference, the conversation is no different. The conference is aimed at creating awareness on the implementation of the national cybersecurity policy and strategy, which seeks to sanitize the cyberspace in Nigeria and strengthen its digital economy. According to the Nigerian Communications Commission, achieving a robust digital economy in Nigeria is dependent on the level of security in the cyberspace.
The growth of digital economies is changing how trust is valued by institutions, businesses, and the general public. The old-fashioned view of trust is expressed in terms of business partnership and simply the security of business transactions. However, the technological advancements brought about by the cyberspace domain and the increase in cybercrimes, identity theft, social media, and fake news campaigns have introduced fresh dimensions that affect the notion of trust in the digital era. Consequently, trust in an organization is built on reputation and ethical practices, privacy compliance and assurance, and intellectual property and data integrity, and the public's perception of how well these components of trust are ensured or safeguarded. Similarly, in the digital economy, trust and confidentiality promote a healthy digital environment enshrined in global best practices to guarantee the privacy and integrity of digital data.
The Office of the National Security Advisor says tackling cybercrime requires efficient information sharing to tackle it.
I'm sure we all know that trust is very fundamental in any relationship in all spheres of human endeavor, be it personal, be it official, to all you could ever think as well. I would want to say that the most successful method, or one of the most successful methods rather, of fighting increasingly complex and ever-changing cybercrime hinges on trust. Trust throughout the supply chain, trust between companies, even competitors, and most of all, trust between government, industry, and the people. Therefore, with the critical role and responsibility that you have as it concerns the digital transformation of the Nigerian economy, permit me to urge you to continue to make trust the foundation of all you do in this playground. By this I mean establish shared principles and ensuring that we all have a common understanding, to say a few. Secondly, the public and private cooperation established the framework and is indeed a key enabler.
The Director, Legal, Regulatory and Compliance, National Identity Management Commission, says the federal policy on linking SIM cards with national identity numbers is yielding results.
We were able to flag up some individuals that have multiple identities in other databases. By the time you bring those information to the National Identity Database, harmonize them, then you will be able to interconnect all the different identities a person has.
As Nigeria continues its quest to build a robust digital economy, this conference is therefore considered apt as it will go a long way in tackling the vulnerability in the cyberspace.
So, these are the steps we take to build a website.
This is not your typical classroom. 3 times a week, these students gather in their teacher's garden in Uganda's capital, Kampala, to learn how to code.
You write the title, you write your heading.
Just before lockdown forced schools to shut down in the East African nation, Shamim Mwanaisha, a mother of 2, started the Supersonic Aviators club. Her aim is to train the next generation of Ugandan coders. Mwanaisha used her own savings to start the club, which mainly caters to underprivileged children who do not have access to equipment and internet. The classes are free of charge, and here, children as young as 6 can learn the fundamentals of coding.
The system works in the way that we recruit children and we introduce them to STEM education using coding, space, aviation, and climate change. In coding, we learn different languages. For example, we learn HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I also teach them to use codes so that they be able to command the computer to do different tasks.
Mwanaisha was inspired to take up coding 3 years ago when her 7-year-old son expressed interest in aviation and coding. Despite the challenges of ongoing lockdowns and restrictions due to the pandemic, Mwanaisha finds ways to keep the classes going and the children engaged and active, especially when schools are closed.
Before COVID, I used to host many children into my house. They would come, they would study. But right now, because of we have to follow the SOPs, children have to learn from outside my compound, whereby we face a problem of sunshine. It's too hot outside. Sometimes when you're learning, it rains. And other parents, they don't have money to buy internet. So few of them go online.
The club has slowly garnered attention, mainly through word of mouth, and currently has around 25 children from the age of 6 to the late teens.
I do coding because I want to be a white hat hacker and be able to stop or block the black hat hackers.
So can you go through this? Can you tell me what you've done, starting from doc?
Africa is the world's last major untapped market for internet access. Only 16% of its billion people use the internet, according to the International Telecommunication Union. Analysts say technological innovation is seen as a quick way to help promote lasting economic growth and development. Along with coding, the initiative also helps children develop their interests in aviation, astronomy, and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Mwanaisha has also enlisted the services of her friend, engineer and inventor Innocent Mugabe, who happened to have recently built his own aircraft.
And then we have this.
He helps the students learn about aircraft parts and aviation vocabulary. They also regularly watch documentaries about aviation and space exploration.
A specific standard which is hard.
We do flight experiences. We do camp aviation. We assemble aircrafts. They watch movies about space to motivate them. They took presentations. This has enabled them to be creative, critical thinkers, and also problem solvers.
With my passion in aviation and climate change, I hope that one day I'll be able to discover biofuels which planes can use instead of fossil fuels which damage the environment.
Shamim Mwanaisha has also taken the club's activities online, with classes offered to anyone interested in coding.
Satellites we have.
Mwanaisha also says she is looking for donors to help buy more laptops and equipment for her aviation and space programs.
This is the lunar moon. This is an astronaut on the lunar moon trying to get samples of lunar rocks.
A roof of solar panels shades Pierre Escudi as he inspects the last plum grapes to be harvested at his vineyard in southwest France. The solar panels insulate the grapes during periods of extreme cold and shields them from the sun's harsh rays during heat waves. The panels also rotate to allow more light to hit the vines on more overcast days.
We will need solutions if we want to keep our local grape varieties.
The rotating solar panel technology might just be the future.
We'll need to do something because we're moving from a Mediterranean climate to a semi-arid climate. 30 years ago, we thought 32 degrees Celsius was an extreme temperature, when today it's 38 or even 40.
Agrivoltaics are a fast-developing technology that places solar panels over fields and vineyards to get double use out of the land by producing power during periods of heavy sunlight while still allowing crops to grow. Several companies in Europe are developing similar solar tech to cover a variety of crops, from wheat fields to fruit orchards. The panels also help insulate the ground beneath by around 2 degrees Celsius, protecting crops and vines from the kind of late frosts that ravaged wine production throughout France in the spring. In a mutually beneficial arrangement, an independent power company uses Escudi's land to install solar panels to produce power, which is fed into the grid and generates enough energy to power about 650 homes in the area. Escudi in turn benefits from the crop protection from having the panels on his land. Cartier says priority in the setup is given to crop quality over power production, meaning some 15 to 20% of potential energy supply is lost over the course of a year. Sun Agri's technology possesses weather data and determines when to shade the crops and when to rotate the panels and give the crops sunlight. The company aims to have its technology in use on around 40 small agriculture sites of between 2 and 4 hectares in the south of France, the Rhône Valley, and around the Mediterranean over 2022 and 2023.
Coming up is my chat with Jude Ozenigbe, CEO, Xenochrome. Stay with us.
Cybersecurity has continued to remain top of mind and should be a priority for anyone who uses the internet. As developers continue to come up with leading-edge ways to counteract cyber attacks, hackers are getting smarter when breaking into IT systems. Cybercrime is the greatest threat to every company in the world and one of the biggest problems with mankind. Statistics from Cybersecurity Ventures predicts that cybercrime will cost the world $6 trillion annually by 2021, growing by 15% per year over the next 5 years. By 2025, the figure is expected to reach $10.5 trillion US, up from $3 trillion in 2015. Our guest this week, Jude Ozinegbe, the CEO of Xenocrime, believes that the possibility of being compromised on the internet increases as we become digitized.
Jude, glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Hi, CFA. Nice to have you too. Thanks for hosting me.
All right. What do you say about the state of cybersecurity in Nigeria today?
Interesting. Cybersecurity is still growing, is evolving. In the terms of security, combating the nefarious actors is still at a very young stage because we don't have enough cybersecurity personnel combating the crimes of cybersecurity threats. From the threat angle, those doing these unscrupulous activities are increasing by the day. And with the migration of many people into the cloud by virtue of digital transformation, COVID-19 and all of that, we need more hands. So we need to grow as fast and as rapid as the bad actors.
So how do we do that? Because it's scary. You mentioned digital transformation, e-government, COVID-19. How do we grow talents that fast?
Okay. Simply put, first of all, what's cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is just about being safe in the cyberspace. It's just like when you build a house, you need to be safe. You put all your burglary system, armed security, and all of that. So going to the cloud is just about being safe in that space. How do we go about that? Is to increase the knowledge gap. To close up that knowledge gap is by training more hands on cybersecurity. At this point in time, it will be safe to say that our schools, our universities, need to tweak their curriculum a bit, especially for those in the computer science, computer engineering, information technology field. They need to start concentrating on cybersecurity skills, programming, and all the relevant knowledge that has to do with being safe online. Then for those, the average users on the street, there are simple practices because the end users are usually the main target and the most hit when there's a threat. There are simple steps to take to keep themselves secure online. Like when going online, they need to check, first of all, that the website has either a padlock sign, has HTTPS. There's an S at the end of that link. These are basic things they need to check to make sure that those sites they are visiting are safe. Then simple things like not sharing or saving the cards, like your ATM cards, debit card or credit cards, whichever anyone is using. You don't save those things on websites that you are not sure of. Then you check. You don't just click links. Nowadays, you'll be seeing promises online, click this to get this money, promises that are unscrupulous. You don't just click links, you double check before you click a link. You see a promo that you're not sure of, it's safe to go to the current website of the company which they claim is giving the promo, and you check. For instance, if there's a company called domain.com, for instance, and somebody sends you a WhatsApp message that a domain.com says, send this message to 10 people and you will get a free ticket or you get one amount of money. The wise thing to do, the rule of thumb is go to that main website and check if the primary website is actually talking about it. Most of the time, people don't check, they just click and they forward to others because they want to get free money, quick money. But when you take your time to check, you realize that nothing like that is happening at the official website of that company.
So Jude, maybe you should also further educate the individual, right? Because you've talked a lot of things around, websites and how about social media, right? What happens on the social media space to people? Things around social engineering. Can you share more with us?
Yeah, so social media is a place where we experience lots of cybersecurity threats. And what occurs there is like a dragnet. You just throw a net there and you pack a lot of people that do not have idea of what's going on. So on social media, people should be careful, first of all, with giving out information. First name, last name, email, phone number, maiden names. These are the things that cyber criminals wait for to use, and is under social engineering. So when they put out things like this, fill this form. There was a period that this grant was really raining, COVID-19 grant and all of that, and people were sharing all kinds of stuff that government is sharing money. Because people wanted money, they just freely and easily started giving out their information. That happened in social media. In fact, they didn't even need to draw people to any website. There was just a dragnet thrown into groups like WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, and also, in fact, in Telegram and all over the different channels of social media, and people were freely giving out their information. Now, for a cyber criminal, they don't even need to do any work, because it's as if a user just came and dropped the key to their bank account on the laps of a cyber criminal. So if they have your full names, they have your email, they have your phone number, and some people even go as far as filling in BVNs in some of these forms. I mean, that criminal does not need to do anything again. They just need to do a little steps, and they have access to such people's accounts. So social media is a place where people need to even start practicing safe cybersecurity skills. Then on WhatsApp and many of these other platforms, the creators have gone a far distance, a large extent, to create two-factor authentication. But many people just log into their WhatsApp, their Telegram, Facebook, and the rest, and they chat with people, click on links without turning on two-factor authentication. What's two-factor authentication? It's just a second level of protection. So you log into your account, you put your password, as in the case of Facebook, then it will ask you for a code. It will send a code either to your mobile number, and you put that code back into the app, and it grants you access. The reason why it does that second level of authentication is in case somebody from behind a system somewhere sends a link, and you click on that link, and the person is trying to gain access to your account, the second level of protection is sent to your mobile number or your email. Let's assume that person does not have access to your email and your SMS. That person will be locked out. But in the case where you have even given out all your information by clicking on one free link somewhere, the person already has all your details. There's little or nothing anybody can do in that regard.
Jude, what are some of the things that you are doing to ensure that you help to improve the cybersecurity consciousness of Nigerians?
Okay, thank you very much, CFA. So in the space of digital transformation, cybersecurity, blockchain, and all of that, I always say something that we are now in what we call the digital economy. And the beauty about this is this digital economy belongs to each and every one of us. We are now all creators. I mean, the moment you post something to somebody, you are the originator of that message. Then we are also all end user, because the moment I receive a message from somebody, I'm now a consumer of that information. That makes everybody players in this field. From my own end as an individual and the group and community I belong to, we've been disseminating information by way of seminars, online webinars, trainings, and conferences as well. In the digital space, everybody just think it's all about fintech, cryptocurrency, digital currency. I mean, it goes way beyond that now. A farmer can just harvest his potatoes or tomatoes or pawpaw or whatever and puts it online, and says, okay, he wants to sell, pay before delivery or pay on delivery with whichever option is given out. Now, somebody might say, I don't want to wait. You can send it to me and I pay before delivery. Somebody can actually intercept that chat if it's happening perhaps on Facebook Messenger and send a different account number to the buyer. The buyer can make transfer to that person. For instance, most of these people don't have a registered business, so they may be doing the business with their personal name. The buyer may send money to a different account entirely, because it's called something called man in the middle. So somebody can intercept that conversation and receive the money. Now the buyer says he has paid, he's waiting for the seller to send goods to him. It has happened in digital space. There's no office to go to report the situation. And the farmer, who is the seller, said he has not received money. These are stark realities of what we face. I'm talking of the common everyday issues, not even the high profile ones that blue chip companies don't come to talk about, because everybody is trying to protect their integrity. At this show, I don't think we may not go that far. So
we'll probably that time to discuss that.
Definitely, yes.
But thank you. Yeah. No, but thank you for being on the show today. Time is never our friend on the show.
Wow.
wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, CFA. Thank you.
Thank you. I have been chatting with Jude Ozenigbe, CEO Xenochrome, who believes that cybersecurity should be taken seriously by all stakeholders, because as our lives continue to become more digitized, then possibilities of being compromised also increases. My personal policy is simply this: once the internet is connected to any kind of device, I am always super security conscious, because you never know what can happen. That's it for our show today. You can watch these and previous editions of the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.